Welcome, everybody, here to the Stars and Stripes post-game show. The United States men's national team just beat El Salvador 6-0 in an absolute rout of a game. Mostly a domestic team for Greg Berhalter and the red, white, and blue. Yeah, a little bit of a second-half letdown. We absolutely dominated in that first half, scoring 5 goals in the first 30 minutes. Chris Mueller got a debut brace and an assist. In the second half, Brendan Aronson backed up his assist from the first half with a debut goal as well. Paul Arriola was back with a goal. So really a good performance all around from the boys.
Yeah, really, there's no I wouldn't say there's really any negatives at all, except for maybe just that drop-off of energy. I'm curious to see what Berhalter is going to say about that, because I know he's a guy that always wants the most out of his players. And I'm curious to see if, he is satisfied with that drop-off, or is he wishes that we went on and broke that record, because I know the fans were all expecting, maybe another half of 3 or 4 goals. But obviously this half was a bit more dull. We opened it up with another goal, but after that it was quiet. So I'm curious to see what Berhalter has to say about that.
I'd say it was nice to see the fans back in the stands, to hear the drums, a little bit of the American Outlaws. Only 2,500 fans were allowed in the stadium, but it's still good to see fans cheering on the red, white, and blue nonetheless.
Was something else.
Yeah, I mean, it's very faint, but you can just make out the I Believe chant from only the few thousand fans in attendance. Yeah, we talked about that second half letdown. I think most of that was down to the fact that the players' energy just dropped. The levels were just not quite what they were in the first half. The players weren't flying around to the ball as much. A couple, not great play or passages of play, maybe a little bit of lapse in concentration. And my mind immediately goes to Julian Araujo's bad pass that actually gave El Salvador their one real chance they had all day. But other than that, they didn't really have anything going for them.
Yeah, really. And see, I think going back to that Julian Araujo pass too. I mean, Leggett also had a sloppy play in the first half that could have gone wrong. Luckily, he got away with it. But it's the stuff like that worries you. It makes you think, like, if this was a proper opponent, would we have been punished here? So that's why I'm great game just as far as seeing that attacking talent, but there's still, I don't think we've got as many questions answered as we would have wanted,
And I think one thing that Taylor Twellman mentioned was that Greg Berhalter has been talking about having 3 teams. You have the European boys, you have the MLS team, and you have the MLS mix with European. Right now, this wasn't even our best MLS guys. Think about it. Jordan Morris wasn't there. Josie Altidor's not there. Michael Bradley's not here. So there's still a lot of other guys that we have playing in MLS that are still playing in the playoffs right now, or just weren't involved in the squad because there just wasn't really any point.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting thing too, especially when the commentary team was having a go about who they would start as striker if they had qualifying right now, and they're talking about 3 guys that haven't even played in any of these camps. So it's promising, because although it wasn't our best team, we still got a great performance out of these guys, and all of these guys surely have a spot to play in one of these 3 teams, like you said.
Yeah, we'll just go get into the player ratings. That way we can talk about all these guys. Just as always, we start with the goalkeeper, Bill Hamid. He had, 2 saves, based right at him. Didn't really have to do much. 6 out of 10.
Right. Yeah, 6 out of 10. Nothing against him. Solid game for what was asked of him, but nothing more. So 6 out of 10 for me too.
I feel that big time.
What do you think about this defense, though?
The defense, all right, we'll start with the fullbacks. Julian Araujo, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. He had a really nice assist for Chris Mueller's second goal. Perfectly timed cross, perfect execution, but he did have that one bad back pass, which, like you mentioned, a better opponent would have made us pay.
Yeah,
so I'm going to give him a 7.
I actually had him as a 7.5 for most of the game.
7.5.
I was getting quite, I was going for the 0.5s this time, because everybody was playing good. I thought I had to be more specific, but as soon as you had that back pass, I was like, that's a little glimpse of the carelessness that Julian Araujo has with him sometimes. So I knocked him down to a 7 as well.
Sam Vines, 7 out of 10. He had one really nice through ball down the left flank to Chris Mueller, but other than that, didn't do much.
Yeah, I gave him a 6 out of 10, and that's the lowest rating for the back line, just because he was pretty quiet. I think he took second fiddle to Araujo, who was the higher and more creative player out of the fullbacks. So 6 out of 10 for him. I also went ahead and gave both center backs a 7 because they both had their positives, although they weren't called upon much. Mackenzie getting that one goal that was disallowed was nice, but then also Long had a lot of very good over-the-top balls that should be noted as well. So both of them positive, but not much to ask either.
Yeah, they didn't have too much to do defensively, but can't really ask more. I gave Mackenzie an 8 and Long a 7. I bumped him up just because of the goal. It should have been a goal. It was wrongfully disallowed, but yeah, I'm going to give him a 7. Moving into midfield, I gave Jackson Ewell an 8. I think he controlled tempo, especially while in the first half. He was spraying passes all over the place and really good over-the-top through balls, so I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I also actually gave him an 8, which is surprising. I think he had a great shift tonight, and I think Greg's probably really happy with what he saw because he showed a lot of quality as obviously against the side where he was given the time and the space to have forward passes, to have time to have that comfort, to be comfortable enough to play the game that he wanted to play. It'll be interesting to see how he'll perform when he's put under more pressure, but he did well. 8 out of 10 for him.
Sebastian Lletget, I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. Nice little goal, helped out from the deflection, but it was a fantastic run nonetheless. He was lively, box to box, didn't really put a foot wrong. So 8 out of 10 from Greg Berhalter's favorite boy.
Yeah, that's right. And I think he should have had another as well on that earlier in the half. He should have taken that one ball inside on his right foot. That would have been an easy second. But other than that, he had a great game. I'm a fan of the guy. I think he's the best player the LA Galaxy have had for a long time. And I'm giving him an 8.5 out of 10. I think he was our best midfielder of the evening.
Really? Because I gave Brendan Aronson a 9. Maybe I'm giving him a little bit of a debut bump because he scored a goal in his debut and created a couple really nice chances, including an assist. So to Sebastian Lletget, as we just were talking about. So I'm giving the MLS's best 11 midfielder a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, no, nothing to take away from Aronson, of course. I gave him an 8 out of 10. Lletget, I just think was involved a lot more considering his positioning, his movement off the ball, plus his movement on the ball too. Just his on the first goal, that power, that run, just the body off the defender, that run through the midfield, and then also I want to note that Lletget's assist to Aronson was phenomenal. Just that little drop of the shoulder and the turn inside, have a perfect ball to the center of the box for Aronson. That was love to see that. So both of them did great. Aronson, I'm giving an 8. Lletget an 8.5.
See, I picked Aronson a little bit ahead. Like I said earlier, I think the little flicks and tricks that he had created nice little opportunities. I feel like he broke down the defensive line for El Salvador a little bit more. I feel like that little space, the pocket between the midfield and the defense is really where he's lively. And I think that's where I think he's a player that can really establish himself in the senior first team when we do get all of our guys back. I really feel like that's where he will live. Moving on to the forward line, starting with Ayo Akinola getting a debut goal, 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I also gave him a 7 out of 10. Like I said in the first half, at the halftime, I don't think this is the best we've seen out of him. Obviously, he got a goal, but I think this guy has a lot more to show, and it was a good display from him, positive. But he's got more quality to show off. So I'm setting the bar lower for him because I know he's gonna show some more in the future. So other than that, the two big boys up top, the two star performers, what'd you give them to?
I gave them both 9 out of 10s. I absolutely loved what they did. Chris Mueller and Paul Arriola, I feel like we're just mirror images of each other. It was a debut for Chris Mueller, 2 goals and an assist for the Orlando City 24-year-old winger. And Paul Arriola, in only his second game back from an ACL injury, getting a goal right from the beginning of the game. Both of them brought the energy, as Paul Arriola always does. And now I think Chris Mueller can be the same type of guy. Maybe playing in a game, if Paul Arriola is not available due to injury or DC United, we can have a guy like Chris Mueller fill in for him and virtually do the exact same thing at the same level and provide the same spark for the team.
Yeah, I think they're both phenomenal tonight, and they're fun to watch. For Mueller to just burst onto the scene like this and to have that much of an impact, it's just another player that we can have that I'm hoping we could comfortably have in our back pocket and say that this is the guy that we can call upon in those scenarios. where we may not have an option, Chris Mueller is going to be that guy that in that position that we could count on. So I gave Mueller, I think he's my man of the match today with the 9. And Ariola, I gave him an 8.5 just because of Mueller's goal contributions. I believe it was 2 goals, 2 assists, right? That's man of the match for me, 9 out of 10.
Yeah, and something that was said in the chat, Paul Arriola can compete with the European boys. That's definitely true. A fit Paul Arriola is 100% a part of the squad of the first national team. When everyone's in there, I don't think he starts for us. Obviously, I think Christian Pulisic and Gio Reyna are pretty heavily favored to be those 2 guys going down the wings. But, maybe Christian plays in the 10 and we do need another winger. That's where Paul Arriola or Tyler Boyd, Jordan Morris fill in. So good point there, Ben. Moving on to the subs, pretty much everyone is 6. Sebastian Soto came on the 55th, didn't do much, had a nice chance, got blocked. Kellen Acosta looked lively. It was good to see him back. He looks fit and firing. Caden said in the chat, who do we think played best? Both of us think gave Chris Mueller man of the match. So that's what I'll say for us. And the subs didn't do much, did they?
Yeah, no. I think it was just kind of sad because these are guys that we really were looking forward to see. I know, especially Soto. I think Soto was given kind of a disappointing chance because everybody around him was kind of shutting off, and Soto didn't really get the opportunities that he may have wanted to. That's nothing against him. I think the team just kind of shut down and towards the second half. But nobody really impressed other than I'd say Kellyan Acosta had a couple bright moments. I think a couple long shots and then that free kick, which was like, hey, he's got a good shot on him. So he tried to show that to us tonight. It's something to look forward to in the future. So